Hi, I'm Avery Davidson. Thank you for joining us for This Week in Louisiana Agriculture, the only TV show bringing Louisiana farmers and consumers together every week. My partner, Kristen White, will join us a little bit later in the show. Louisiana will have a new governor in January of next year, and voters decided who that would be in the primary election. Louisiana Attorney General Jeff Landry bested 13 other candidates to garner nearly 52% of the votes cast in the October 14th primary. Landry, a Republican from St. Martin Parish who served one term as a congressman and two as Attorney General, will succeed John Bell Edwards to become the 57th governor of Louisiana. You heard from Landry right here on TWILA during the early part of the campaign, where he talked about working on his uncle's sugarcane farm. Not long after his interview here, Landry spoke to the voting delegates at the 101st Annual Louisiana Farm Bureau Convention about the challenges he sees facing agriculture.
For centuries, well, I guess you could say 100 years or more, this country has treated its farmers special because they understood that if you could feed the nation, you had a secure nation. But little by little, the federal government has started to put its boot on the agriculture industry. Now, that's nothing new to other industries around the country. But an industry that seemed to have been sacrosanct no longer was.
Now, you may have noticed that Louisiana Commissioner of Agriculture and Forestry, Dr. Mike Strain's name was not on the ballot. Well, that's because he ran unopposed and will serve a fifth term. Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser easily won re-election. Meanwhile, the races for Attorney General, Treasurer, and Secretary of State will all have to be decided in runoffs. That'll be during the general election on November 18th. Sugarcane harvest is underway in Louisiana. Like many other crops, this year's sugarcane crop is seeing the effects of the drought that has covered the state all summer. TWILA's Karl Wiggers takes us to West Baton Rouge Parish, where for one farmer, the sweet crop is off to a not-so-sweet start.
A lack of rain is evident in this sugarcane field as carts are loaded to head to the mill at nearby Alma Plantation. For West Baton Rouge farmer Heath Morris, what is leaving the field is not his main concern.
This crop is done. There's nothing we can do about this crop that's in the field. What everybody's worried about is what we've got planted in the field, what we just looked at. That's our future.
The crop being harvested varies greatly depending on soil conditions and moisture retention. Morris says this year's crop will not be as good as last year's.
The crop is considerably light, it's short, it's damaged, it's not there where it was last year. We're 15 to 20% off from last year, yeah. And that's conservative.
Morris attributes that loss to the drought in the crucial growing months for the sugarcane crop. He hopes for his newer sugarcane to harvest better, but he is guarding his expectations as they continue through the next 3 months of harvest season.
You typically see a pretty drastic incline of yields. Some years greater than others, but this year, hopefully we see a pretty huge incline, which, but realistically speaking, probably not.
Now, there's still a lot of harvest ahead for Morris and sugarcane farmers across Louisiana. We hope the tonnage and sugar content numbers continue to climb. We'll keep you updated on the crop as we move deeper into harvest. Alligators are thriving in Louisiana. The population has increased from fewer than 100,000 to more than 2 million over the last 50 years. That's according to the Louisiana Alligator Management Program. Alligator hunting is a vital part of Louisiana's history and culture. Before this year's season ended, TWILA's Neil Melancon went out on one of the last hunts to see how one Louisiana native is being recognized for her artistic take on this tradition.
As the sun rises near Simmsport, this crew is going out looking for alligators. Doug Anderson is a wildlife agent who runs his own alligator hunting company. He says trapping and harvesting alligators is not only an important cultural tradition, but necessary.
While on our hunt this morning, I spoke about the significance of keeping the numbers at a manageable level to benefit commercial fishermen. So that they're not so destructive on their equipment, hoop nets and webbing and things that they use in the river. They do eat livestock. Anyone with sheep or goats or cattle, you can run into some problem with them eating livestock.
Among the crew is Leslie Charville, who has grown up hunting and fishing all her life. She says while many might be afraid of alligators, they're just something she grew up with.
I was raised hunting and fishing and kind of running wild and free. So it was, whenever I discovered this, it was just a collision of those two worlds. And I used to paint, but now I paint animals and document them.
The crew got 2 large gators on this trip, both more than 9 feet long. They'll be used for their meat and hides, but Leslie has another project for them first.
It's an old Japanese technique called gyotaku, which literally means fish rubbing in Japanese. And of course we're using alligators. Gyo means fish, taku means rubbing or impression in Japanese, and it's developed in the 17th century as a means of documentation.
The blending of this Louisiana and Japanese tradition might seem strange, but it's a natural fit for Leslie. She says it's a reminder that it's important to see the beauty in what's around us every day.
I know that this gives people a sense of time and place, and it's a grounding image. These have shipped all over the country, from coast to coast, north, south, from North Carolina all the way to the west coast of California, and what we get over and over. I was raised in South Louisiana, and this gives me a sense of home.
As you can see, the finished product is quite striking. These pieces are commissioned and will be finished at her studio. Leslie's efforts haven't gone unnoticed.
Real quick, on behalf of Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser, he has named you a Louisiana ambassador.
Alligators are a conservation success story in Louisiana, and hopefully this art will keep the memory of that alive for future generations. Reporting from Avoyelles Parish, I'm Neil Melancon.
Leslie's alligator artwork and other pieces are available to buy, and you can even commission your own. We'll have a link on our website at twilatv.org. You see the label gluten-free. It's on lots of items in the store, but what does that label mean, and who really needs to pay attention to that? In this edition of Label Lessons, LSU Ag Center dietitian Jennifer Duhan has those answers.
Let's talk a little bit about what is gluten. Gluten is going to be a protein that's found typically in wheat, barley, and rye. It also can be a filler or a binder, so it might be in products that you wouldn't necessarily see it. But the truth is, a gluten-free diet is not needed for everyone. It's typically needed for someone who has something called celiac disease. And this is because their body doesn't recognize that protein, and so it looks somewhat like a toxin for them. It's not necessary for your health, and it's definitely not a diet that's recommended for weight loss. Now, one thing that you might notice is that products that are considered gluten-free are going to be higher in cost. You'll also see sometimes on products having the label gluten-free, but it's not necessary. So things such as rice, milk, fruits and vegetables, and even corn are naturally gluten-free, but their products still may have that label. And again, we want to stress that this is not necessary for a healthier diet. So don't let that label fool you.
To see more videos like this, we have a playlist on our YouTube channel of Label Lessons, and it will continue to grow as we add new topics in the coming weeks. If you have seen a label and you just don't understand it or would like some clarity on it, send it our way on our website at twilatv.org. We'll try to tackle it in a future segment. Northeast Louisiana Agriculture was front and center last week when LSU Ag Leadership Class 18 visited that part of the state. Tammy Arender takes us to a cotton field in Washita Parish to show us what the class experienced.
The cotton pickers making their final passes on the Greer farm in East Washita Parish.
This block of cotton that's here, this is the last cotton, but we'll pick it tomorrow and we'll be done.
Ed Greer and his son farm cotton and other row crops in Northeast Louisiana. On this day, he's harvesting with an audience, a group from the LSU Ag Center Leadership Program.
Going around looking at different agricultural operations, giving them a glimpse of different agriculture around the state.
While soybeans and cotton are mainstays in this area, they're not so common in South Louisiana. That's why Shelby DePlantis, a sugarcane farmer from St. Mary Parish, wanted to make the trip.
It's very pretty, very cool. The machines go very fast, our harvesters go a lot slower than these, so that's really cool.
So this group not only got to see the cotton being picked, but they followed it all the way to the gin and ravel. This co-op is running full blast this time of year. Machines separating the fiber from the seeds, all of which are used and sold around the world. Cotton isn't just for making t-shirts and sheets. It's used in numerous ways, from being one of the ingredients in paper money to the seeds used in animal feed or the oil used in cosmetics. Even for those in agriculture, the tour is quite the learning experience. Cliff Daly from Rapides Parish works for Wildlife and Fisheries, but he also has a small produce farm.
Started doing the truck farming on the side. He's like, that's kind of a diverse aspect of agriculture, a unique aspect in the state, and thought I might have something to add to the class, and I would obviously gain a lot being in the class.
They can learn from each other, they can share from each other, they can help each other. And that is just an extraordinary benefit, and they're just better informed, better communicators, and better networked than they ever have been before.
I'm Tammy Arender for This Week in Louisiana Agriculture.
The LSU Ag Leadership class also visited Kennedy Rice Mill in Morehouse Parish and the Lamb Weston Sweet Potato Processing Facility in Richland Parish. Still to come on TWILA, where's the beef? Okay, I've been waiting all my career to pull that old Wendy's commercial out and use that line, but you know what? I know where the beef is. It's after this break. Feasting on Agriculture is next.
I'm a steward of the land.
I am growing a better future.
I am feeding the world.
I'm making the world a better place.
I am resilient.
I'm essential, and I'm still farming.
I am essential.
I am still farming.
I am resilient.
I am essential.
I am still farming.
No matter what happens, we are still farming.
I am Farm Bureau.
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 We are Farm Bureau.
Welcome to Feasting on Agriculture. I'm Kristen White, and today we're in St. Francisville, Louisiana at 312 Beef, where they exclusively raise grass-fed cattle and beef.
Feasting on Agriculture is brought to you by the Louisiana Crawfish Promotion and Research Board, Louisiana Crawfish, ask before you eat, and by the Louisiana Beef Industry Council, beef, it's what's for dinner, and by the Louisiana Rice Promotion Board, think rice.
Oh, they're ready. They are ready to move.
We're here today at 312 Beef Ranch in St. Francisville, Louisiana with Mr. Josh Morris. And Josh, how long have you guys been raising cattle?
We've been raising cattle for 8 years. We bought our first one cow we bought at a sale barn 8 years ago, and then it's just kind of grown into what it is today.
And you guys are unique in the fact that you are exclusively grass-fed beef cattle. When you started raising cattle, is that something that you wanted to do right off the bat?
No, not actually at all. We were just going to sell calves like everybody else around here. And selling calves was not the best way that we could sell calves. The best way we figured out we could sell calves was by growing them out and selling them individually as meat.
Were there challenges operating that way?
Every day.
Okay.
Every day, and has been from day one.
And you guys also do something that's pretty unique, and you're very big on rotational grazing and maximizing the grass that you do have, right?
Very much so, very much so. We try our best to not just take everything from the ground, but to also put back. None of this was here last year.
So plowing?
Until I plowed it.
Ah.
And there's also no grass in here compared to everywhere else.
Okay.
So all these people that are plowing right now for ryegrass are not going to have grass come next May or June.
This year, actually, the rotational grazing kind of worked in your favor because, as you know, it's been a really difficult year with heat and rain.
It has been a crazy year for all kinds of reasons. And it really started last winter. But being that we didn't have any rain, like 2 or 3 inches all summer long for 3 or 4 or 5 months, it was like we have grass. Everybody that I talk to, a lot of my good friends, their places are pretty much dirt.
And so but you think that was strictly because you were moving cattle on and off.
Mm-hmm.
Now, something else that goes into your final product that we talked about earlier is the breed of cattle that you're selecting for that lend to better beef when it comes to grass-fed beef?
Oh, sure. Like I said, we use Red Devons is kind of where we started going that direction. And they're supposed to be the gourmet grass-fed beef, and they are super. They're easy fleshing. They're super grass efficient for sure, which is obviously what we need. And it's super good. They're kind of a moderate frame, so they're not huge. They're going to be around 1,000 pounds, give or take. And so that means usually that we can run a few more of them than most people do a bigger cow, a 13 or 1,500 pound cow. So here's a Devon right here, the little horn deal, 154. Shoot, here's another Devon. They're a little hairier. They're a little smaller than these big Angus cows. And so here's the British whites. The British white.
It's like a short horn and a...
Or some people call it a white park.
In agriculture, you know, we are often facing an uphill battle in terms of the distance between the person who produces the crop and the consumer, and we're getting so far away from the farm generationally. If you're standing next to a consumer, which you do often do because y'all sell directly to consumer, what is the one thing that you want them to know about the product that you're putting in their hand, about how you took care of it, or what do you want them to know about your beef?
That this was all done locally. We're trying to get the people that that we're selling to understand that they can have a relationship with a farmer that does provide and take care of and really puts effort into making the best beef that we can. There are local people that are trying to produce the same quality beef, and it's usually better beef than what they're buying in the store. And so that's what we want them to know is there's local people doing this if they'll just look for them.
I get up at 4 every morning. I cook breakfast for all my kids. I'm usually at the office somewhere between 5:30, 6 o'clock. We always start our day off with a prayer. We call that our safety meeting. Sunshine has helped us to grow our fleet of John Deere tractors. We move at a very fast pace in what we do, and time is money. That as contractors and as farmers, we just love green because they make it so easy to purchase. No matter the weather, my day always has sunshine.
Well, we've got a real treat for you today for the cooking segment of our show because we have Tara, Josh, and your father-in-law, Eugene, and we're going to do a true farm-to-table meal. And it's going to be kind of potluck style in a way because you've got ingredients from all across the area, right?
Yes, we do, Kristen. It's really neat to be a beef producer because not everybody can produce beef.
Right.
But we can do a lot of trading and bartering with our friends. So today I'm making a salad dressing with honey from a friend of mine from Baskin who runs a dairy and a honey farm. I've got steaks from our farm, and we have lettuce from Maranatha Greens, and we also have feta cheese for our salad from Ewing Farms Goat Dairy, which is a small goat dairy that supplies a lot of restaurants and places around Baton Rouge and Lafayette.
Put me to work. Let's get started.
Okay. Today we're cooking New York strips, and these are pre-marinated. Tenderness does not always equal marbling. Today we have some that are not very marbled from a different cow, but we don't always know they're going to be tender. So I always recommend our customers to take these steaks and actually use this tool called a jackard.
So are you going to let me do this part?
I'm going to let you do this part. So this is a jackard, just a really cheap one off of Amazon. You're going to take, and it has little needles, and it's going to stab the steak all over. You said you needed to get some aggression out.
I need to get some parenting aggression out.
Okay,
since we're going
go
through
for it. And I'm going to do the alternative. If you don't have a jackard, you can use forks.
Now tell me if I'm doing too much.
No, you can't
all
do too
over?
much. You want to put
Okay.
needle holes all over. And this is just to ensure, you can do this on even a grocery store steak, any kind of steak that you're not certain if it's going to be tender, you can do this. And you
so
just
when you
poke
get
holes all
tenderized
over.
meat, this essentially has just already been done.
Well, a tenderizer at the butcher shop is going to actually pulverize it. It runs it through a kind of a flattener, and so your tenderized round steaks and stuff is a little bit different. This is simply tenderizing the grilling steaks. That's
Okay.
what we're doing here.
Now it's time for the rubber to meet the road. We're gonna put the beef on the grill. And so you're the grill master.
I'm the grill master at my house.
Grass-fed beef. What's different about the cooking of it, the actual grilling of the meat?
So I try to get mine to about 350 degrees. These are about 3/4 of an inch, so we're gonna be around the 5-minute per side area. And what I like to do is throw them on there and let them sear, and then just kind of move them around a little bit. I did put a little dab of butter on our griddle before we got started.
Right.
Just kind of coated it with some butter. We're shooting for about a medium to a medium rare. We're gonna go ahead and flip all these over. So seasoning, really, it really depends on what you like, but in a grass-fed situation, there's already a lot more flavor in the beef. We're about done, so let's get these off.
Now the crucial part, and that's putting the butter, right?
So the butter, but first, we're gonna take a little dab of kosher salt.
Okay.
And we're gonna sprinkle it on each one, just a little bit. It don't take much, right? So we'll take it, just throw some on each one. Just kind of spread her out a little bit. We'll let these rest about 5 to 10 minutes.
And that's crucial.
That is crucial as well.
Now, just for good measure, because they have so much good products out here for us, we're gonna do brisket burgers.
Right.
Just to add to the meal. We're gonna get a full selection of all the beef. So I'll grab this for you. And I'll throw some corn that she also got from a local producer. I'll put it here. Now, is there anything special about cooking brisket burgers that's different?
Well, it's like the grass-fed beef takes a little longer. And you want to do it a little slower. I like to put a little indentation in the patties. It makes them cook more evenly. You don't end up with a raw burger on the middle. And then after we get them done on one side, we'll flip them over and I'll put a little butter on them to keep them moist.
Okay. So today, right now, you're the grill master, but you do a lot more on this ranch than just grilling. So tell me, on a day-to-day basis, what do you do?
I'm mostly a grass manager. I manage the grass and the cows.
And a lot of people
make sure that they have plenty of grass to eat.
And that's just as crucial as managing the cattle, right?
Well, Josh and Tara, they're more of the cattle people. I'm the grass person.
How much do you love managing cattle?
It's my second dream being fulfilled. My first dream I got to do for 39 years, and then when I retired, Josh and Tara allowed me to realize my second dream, and that was to work with cows and to do what I'm doing.
These are beautiful, Mr. Eugene. I'm gonna have to try this trick with the butter on there.
Makes them good and juicy.
Okay, well let's give them a try. Well, this looks phenomenal. Josh, Tara, thank you so much for everything, for welcoming us to your farm. Everything is excellent looking. I can't wait to dig in. If you want to learn more about 312 Ranch or any of the ingredients that we have, the greens, the goat cheese, we'll put all of that information on our website at twilatv.org. But for now, it's time to dig in. So let's taste and see if you made a grass-fed believer out of me. Y'all, it is wonderful. Join us next time on Feasting on Agriculture.
Feasting on Agriculture was brought to you by the Louisiana Crawfish Promotion and Research Board, Louisiana Crawfish, ask before you eat, and by the Louisiana Beef Industry Council, Beef, it's what's for dinner, and by the Louisiana Rice Promotion Board. Think rice.
Yeah, I'm a little bummed I missed out on that one. Those steaks looked amazing. Now, Kristen shared more from her day at 312 Beef in a blog post, as well as some recipes that we will share on our website at twilatv.org. After feasting on rice, crawfish, and beef, it's time for dessert, a little sweet sugar. And we're not talking about just any sugar or sugar substitute. We're talking about real Louisiana sugar, the kind we celebrated October 14th on National Real Sugar Day, and the kind you can enjoy straight from the stalk. Now, what makes it so special, you ask? In this week's TWILA Boost, Azalee Domang from Vermilion Parish will show you, and trust us, her face says it all. Yeah, I love to chew on sugarcane just like that. Well, that does it for this edition of TWILA. Be sure to join us next week when we'll show you what happens when sports broadcasting and sugarcane harvest collide. Until then, you can catch all of our stories online at twilatv.org. For all of us here at TWILA, thank you for joining us. We hope to see you again right here next week.